When it comes to this unique method that I created, right, there are 9 components to it, right? The first one is strengths. When it comes to strengths, there are 3 common mistakes that most advisors out there are making right now. Number 1, they are unaware of their strengths. And probably number 2, they never utilize it, okay, utilize it. And number 3, even if they were to utilize it, they probably never amplify it, okay, amplify it. So allow me to elaborate what do I mean by that. So number 1, unaware of the strengths. I have spoken to so many advisors, right, where I ask them, hey, what makes you different from another advisor out there? They say, actually, I'm also not sure. I don't know. If the client like me, they like me. If not, it's okay. And then usually what happens, right, is that the client take the same product or policy, they compare other advisors. They say, oh, never mind, I choose another advisor, not you. And then they will feel very jaded. But let me ask you honestly, if you do not know your strengths, will that affect your confidence? Confirm, for sure. And will that affect your conviction when it comes to sale? 100%. So that's why this is a very important pointer to take note of. If you're not aware of strength, this spells trouble. And number 2, maybe some of them are aware of their strengths. They say, I'm very empathetic, I'm very analytical, I'm very strategic. But I ask them, how are you applying it in your business now? They say, I don't have. Usually what my mentor teach me, the agency training, I just go and follow the flow. I said, oh, interesting, it has been effective for you. He said, actually not really. I said, why? So there was a real case study. Let me just share. This guy, he's very analytical. The manager said, you must bring more emotions in the conversation, must talk about feelings. It's like, actually, I don't even know what I'm feeling, how to tell people, I'll ask people what they're feeling. It's very hard for him to reconcile that thought process. So that's a very hard one for him because he never utilized his analytical skills or strategic thinking that he naturally have. And number 3, right, some of them probably they've been utilizing it. Maybe, just now we talk about strategic analytical skills. Before coming for proposals, right, this person will analyze all numbers, show them 3 thought processes, 3 possible plans, and then say, hey, so what are you going to do next? And usually they are the one that's utilizing it, implementing it, but the question is, are they amplifying it beyond themselves? So I give you a real example that another client of ours utilized. For him, right, creating anything that's very analytical, creating tools like cash flow analysis, budget calculator, property analysis calculator, come to him very instinctively. And for him, for the longest time, right, he never think that, it's part of my job scope to create all of these tools. I just asked him a simple question, bro. Do you have a way so that you can give these to everybody at scale? Then he was like, maybe I can create something like that. He took 2 weeks. Now this is technically his lead magnet that he gives anybody for free. Serve not sell is what we teach, and he's doing it right now. Right? So that's amplifying. So whether he's sleeping or not sleeping, someone else is utilizing his analytical skills. These 3 components and these 3 common mistakes is very important. Why? Because you need to have that kind of conviction that comes from within your strengths to tell people, I'm the best advisor for you. Don't have to compare. So let me share you a real story of how an advisor of ours, his name is Jay. One of his strengths is honesty, and I'll share you the backstory behind it. It's very funny. One thing about us coaches, right, where we derive or extract strength in our clients is through stories where we ask them. I said, hey, just curious, what makes you different from others? And he said, I don't know. I said, cannot be. You're an MDRT achiever, you must be different. He said, actually, I don't know. And through our unique process, we were asking them a couple of questions, and this was a story I derived from him. He shared with me this. Actually, bro, this is something vulnerable. Don't tell anybody else. I said, okay, what? When I was younger, right, I often lie a lot to my parents. And also, I lie a lot to others. I say, okay, cool. So what's so bad about it? What's the worst that happened to you? He said, I got police came to me because I went to Carousel and sell fake branded goods and cheat people money. People pay me $12 to collect products, and I never delivered at all. And they got my PayNow number, they got my address, everything they got. And police came out. And I was so scared that I have a criminal record or anything like that. But at the point I was 19 years old, he told me. And I was like, okay, cool. So what happened to you after that? Ever since then, I don't dare to lie. Not I don't want to lie, it's I don't dare to lie. I was like, okay, interestingly, from the day onwards, you never lie at all? He said, yes. So his worldview is like, oh, I don't lie. For my lens is, so that's your strength. You're very honest as a person. He said, I think so. So he don't dare confidently say, that's me as a person yet. I say, okay, cool. I challenge you a homework. For this upcoming week, I want you to prospect every single one of your friend or one market which he was scared to do with full honesty. That's your strength. Don't lie to them. Tell them honestly that you really like to work with them. Why as well? He said, I think I can do that. He managed to secure one appointment with a lady. This lady was his uni friend, I remember. He found it very awkward to talk to her. And he told her openly in this conversation, he said, frankly speaking, I'm going to challenge myself and be very honest with you throughout this whole appointment. To the extent, if you have any question, even my commission, I tell you openly. I got nothing to hide and nothing to lie to you. Can? The fellow was shocked. His prospect said, sure, why not? Everything she asked, he answered. To the fact that the lady feels so safe, so calm with him, and said, you know what, everything you propose seems sound, I want to do with you. He was mind blown. Number one, he did not dare to prospect her to begin with. He just spoke honestly from his heart. Number two, he was so honest to share even the commission and share that he's operating from her best interest. She bought into it, and now she became his client. And it was a very beautiful story that I always remember because he played to his strength, which prior to that, he did not know that, probably this is what makes me different from another advisor. Yeah, so this is one story that I want to share with you guys. So the next component, okay, apart from strength, right, just now we talk about strengths, the opposite of it is what? Weaknesses. When it comes to weaknesses, right, there are a couple of mistakes that most advisors make. Number one, they might be unaware of their weaknesses. So you will notice a pattern. A lot of things that we teach, right, is about awareness. Very important. When it comes to weaknesses, right, some of the advisors are unaware of their weaknesses. They're like, I don't know what's wrong with me. That's why they're always stuck in the situation. Or probably number two, really serious one is they are aware, but they ignore. Let me give you some real example. So right now, there are advisors that I've spoken to. I say, how long has it been since you never get your MDRT? Then he will be saying that, actually, a couple of years. Do you know why? He said, I don't know. And through that short conversation that I have with them, 20 minutes, some of them will say, actually, I suspect is my ego too high. I was like, okay, cool. But before that, you're not aware. After a conversation with me, you now became slightly aware that your ego too high. He said, yeah, I think so. Maybe that's why the past few years, I never asked for opportunities from my relative or war market. I said, okay, good. So this was the reason what caused him to be stagnant. The second type of advisors are worst. I asked him, hey bro, do you know that this is a real issue? He said, I know. My manager every day say me, I'm inconsistent, I got no discipline. And you still don't want to change. Never mind, it's okay. Just let it be. They ignore their weaknesses. But on the flip side, let me share you a real story. There was one client of ours. His name is, I can't reveal names, but let me just use Jay, another client of ours. Okay? So this guy here, he's high ego, really high. He's an MDRT achiever for many years, in fact. Without, he always do co-market, road shows, everything. And without touching his existing and warm market, he can have MDRT. So I asked him, bro, if you want to do 2 times, 3 times, easily you can tap onto that, right? He said, I don't want. I said, why you don't want? And he said, very embarrassing, go back to my existing client. Very embarrassing to go back to my warm market. I say, but you want your ego, you don't want your transformation. He said, I want both lah. Then I said, okay, interesting. So what is the issue with your ego? I asked him this honest question. What's the issue with it? He said, I just don't like to look weak. I said, cool. Is this something that has been holding you back for damn long? He said, actually, truthfully, yes. Do you want to change that? He said, okay. I gave him a challenge, 14 days challenge. I remember very clearly. Right? Within 7 days, he break record already. Within 7 days, not 14, he went to close at least 18 cases in total. Total commission that 1 week was about 4.4K cash collected. And he was blown away. Existing clients he prospect, warm market he called. And every single person he reached out to, he said, this is a challenge to myself. I just want to serve you. I just want to see how I can evaluate you. You want, don't want, it's fine also. He don't take it personally. But in the past, he take every no as a personal attack, which cripples his ego. So the very big shift for him was to be aware that his ego was affecting it, and he did not ignore, he improved on it. I think that was a beautiful story that I always remember. Right? His name is not Jake, sorry. His name is H. Another client of ours. Beyond, just strengths and weaknesses, I think the third thing will be a more important one, which is driving forces. So driving forces, right, is a unique concept that I created it myself. Let me explain a little bit before we elaborate, right? Driving forces in all human beings, I believe strongly that we have at least 3 driving forces. And you need to, number one, you need to discover the driving forces, but most of them are unaware of the driving forces, and I don't blame them because nowhere else teach them. Schools and parents don't teach, right? That's why we teach so passionately. The second thing about driving forces, right, is that some of them are aware, but some of them may be aware but don't understand. They don't understand what's going on. How is the driving forces? They don't understand how is the driving forces affecting them currently. That's why they're procrastinating, they're not motivated, they don't understand what's going on. Maybe they discover the driving force, but they don't understand. And number 3 is that what? They never master it. I think this is very important. Allow me to elaborate a little bit, step by step. Number 1, if you do not know what motivates you, can you be motivated? That's the same thing. It's like if you do not know which petrol to pump into your car, imagine you're driving a Ferrari, you put diesel oil or whatever, and then you're like, shit, this don't make sense. Same thing for you as a human being. If you do not know what motivates you, your manager can say, or whoever can say to you, just do this, but it doesn't apply to you. And that's why you see a lot of advisors are procrastinating, right? That's because they're unaware of it. Number two, some of them might be aware. I'm very motivated by money. But why like that? I don't know. Some people might be very motivated by freedom, but they don't understand why like that. Also don't know how to understand how to use it to their advantage. So I give you some real example on that note because there's a lot of stories like that. We have advisors who are very freedom driven. Means that, I don't want to go office lah. Don't call me during this timing lah. I just want 3 appointments per week. I'm okay with that lah. So they're very freedom driven. So as and when they want to work, they work. Don't want to work, don't work. But they don't understand why they have this driving force, how to properly use it, and how to maximize out of it. They don't understand. As a result of that, they still continue their slow pace. Number 3, some of them, they know it, they understand it, and they use it successfully. But the problem is that they never master it. So that's why if you're a leader right now watching this, right, you probably resonate. One month your client, your one of the guy can fly all the way up, man. Rocket kind of production. Next month slump. Because they use it. But they never master it. The moment you master it means what? You're constantly in control of these driving forces, using it month after month consistently. But you use it's just a one-time wonder kind of thing. So these are 3 common mistakes when it comes to driving forces that most advisors will make. And it's very important for you to know how to utilize it. Let me give you a real story. Okay, one of our clients' name is B. So client B, interestingly enough, let me give you the details. His driving forces, I'll put it probably here. Okay, I'll just leave it here. His driving force is peace. Next one is freedom. Third one is regret. Okay, I always love his story because it's easiest to understand. Whenever I ask him, hey bro, can you share with us what's your usual work routine like? And he said, I'm very hardworking. Every day I call 7 people. I said, okay, cool. 7 people cannot hit MDRT. I don't believe what. Then he said, okay, I'll be honest with you. I said, sure. After I call the first 2, they reject me or they rudely shout at me on the phone. I will go back to my comfort zone because of the peace driving force. But he don't know it. He's very subconscious about it. He said, I just don't call, I just call later. I'll go and post content online, do something that's more easy or comfortable. The second thing he do is that he will, after that, use his Instagram, watch Netflix, go YouTube, then tired already, give in to himself, take afternoon naps because of his freedom acting out. And then before he sends scripts, he always think of what if I send this script, nobody like how? What if people don't reply me? What if they are working, I'm disturbing them, how? A lot of what if. Because the regret is acting up. Regret always think of what if one. Could have, should have one. So end up, he will take afternoon nap, he wake up at 6:30. But then he wake up at 6:30, he say, hey shit, people are either going home already, or they're having early dinner. Wow, bad time to call. Tomorrow. And the tomorrow never come. 1 week, 2 weeks is a vicious cycle. Then he start regretting. I should not have done that. So if you watching this right now, you probably can understand what's happening to him. You are aware of his driving forces. And let me share with you how I teach him to master it. When it comes to this, first thing I ask him is this. Hey, B, don't review names. B, client B, I say, every single day without fail, if you prospect at least 5, not 7, 5. After you finish your 5, I want you to go for cycling with your friends, bowling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, have fun. Can you do that? Well, his eyes light up. He said, sure, why not? Should be easy. I said, good. If you do 5 every single day, sounds simple but not easy, do you regret wasting the day? He said, no regret. I show up stronger than last time. I said, good. If on average you do 5 times 5 on Monday to Friday, 25 per week, how many appointments aga you think you can have? He said, minimally 4 or 5. You think you can hit your goals? He said, for sure. And I did not teach him sales, referral, marketing, any scripts. He did this one thing. Understanding it, aware of it, and master it. He hit his first MDRT after 3 years of not achieving it. And that's the kind of power that driving forces have in you that helps you to be more motivated, self-driven. Right? So this is why driving force is very important. And for the 4th element when it comes to this method, right, is beliefs. So beliefs, basically, if you define it, is a string of thought. Right? Thoughts lead to emotions, emotions lead to actions. So when it comes to beliefs, there's 2 mistakes that most advisors tend to make. Let me write down first. Beliefs. Number 1, unaware. Okay, unaware of the limiting beliefs. And number 2, they just ignore it. Okay, let me give you some real example. So there are advisors that ask them, hey, what's holding you back from speaking to high net worth? They say, I don't have any. I say, cool, can you find? They say, can. So what's stopping you from finding? Actually, the truth is, I scared I'm not good enough. Nothing to value at them, nothing to serve them. So through that kind of interaction that I have with them, asking them deeper questions, you realize that the deepest limiting belief is, I cannot value add high net worth. Which prior to that, they were unaware. Because if you're unaware of this problem, how to solve that problem? So that's what we really spot in most advisors. They don't tell themselves the real truth. What are some limiting beliefs that their heads are saying, right? And this is affecting the production, of course, because if they are not taking the right action to go and get to high net worth, how are they going to grow the business? And the second one is that some of them, when they realize that yes, the limiting belief is I cannot evaluate high net worth, they just say, but it's okay lah, let it be. So some examples are, I have advisors that came to me and say, hey, 3 o'clock is always the worst time to call. I said, why? Oh, people are working out there. I said, okay, cool. Are you confirmed you're right? He said, yeah, I'm sure right. Every time I call 3 o'clock, everybody don't pick up. I said, oh, interesting. So he chose to ignore that limiting belief and just accept that limiting belief for the rest of his career. As a result of that, he will always not get his MDRT. And these are the 2 common mistakes that advisors make, right? So I give you a real story of how an advisor came to us, previously unaware of the limiting beliefs, but they didn't ignore, they chose to change. So this was a client of mine, 6 years in business, no MDRT before. And the funny thing about him is because he always feel that weird salesy feeling. And his limiting belief that I highlighted in him was this: each time I'm a bit too aggressive or pushy, I am being salesy to people. Hence, he dare not dare to nudge people to do the right thing. Roadshow, world market, core market, anybody. He doesn't dare to nudge them. If they say, should I do this now? I'll take the time. No worries about it. It's okay. Think about it. I'm like, hey, cool. This could be the biggest issue why you're not getting your targets. No? This could be the reason why you're self-sabotaging. And then he says, so coach, what should I do? So I identified his limiting belief, which is each time I'm too aggressive or pushy, I am being salesy. And I asked him an honest question. I said this, hey, he's J, right? Client J. I said, client J, let's be honest, if you were to serve this person for $1 million life insurance, right, how much commission you earn? He said, less than 1K. I said, say again. He said, less than 1K. I said, cool. In the event something bad happened to him, how much do you think he will benefit? $1 million coverage. Hey bro, say one more time, how much? $1 million coverage. So you are telling me that the value you bring to the table is that you help him get a potential 1 million while you only earn how much? 1K. What are you understanding from here? What's the new belief you're getting here? And he scratched his head for a moment, his eyes light up, he said, it's never salesy if it changes their life more than it changes mine. I said, hey, how do you feel now? He said, bro, I'm changed now. Something is unlocked in my head. I said, don't talk nonsense, no. Can you take action? And he said, yes. He went to a roadshow, and there's a guy, 40 years old, entrepreneur, sole breadwinner, 2 kids. He said, bro, my business do so good, I don't need insurance, I can self-insure. He said that. And then that client of ours, client J, said, I respect you, I hear you. I'm just curious. In the event, yes, I know that your business can take care of kids. But in the event you're gone, right? Do you think your kids can run the show, run the business? Let's be honest about it. He said, cannot. But let's be honest also, in the event really something happened, you got 1 million coverage for your kids, how would you feel about that? And can I be even more honest with you? Today I walk away, maybe I only earn 1K. But you walk away your $1 million coverage. That's my truth. You buy, don't buy, it's up to you. Wow. After that, he saved so much conviction for the first time in 6 years of his career. The guy said, you're right. Let me sign it. And now they're best friends. And I was blown away by that story. Because with this shift in perspective, shift in mindset, the outcome is so different. No? And I had goosebumps because this is one of my best story, best transformation. And today, now, last year he had his MDRT, 6 years, never once. Last year he got it, this year he's got it for 2 times MDRT. Yeah, so it's a very powerful story that I want to share, because when you switch someone's belief, you change the person's life. Yep. So the next portion, right, we want to talk about, next component is values. So someone actually asked me, so Daryl, what's the difference between beliefs and values? So I personally also went to read up the definition. Basically, values is a string of beliefs. I give you some example. Beliefs means that I believe I'm kind. Values is a string of it that everybody should love each other, everybody should help each other. I believe the world is amazing. Human being on the conscious day-to-day basis will never go around walking around saying, hey, the world is kind, the world is kind, the world is kind. So we simplify as one core value, love, kindness. And we subconsciously operate from that place. Simple as that, if I can explain. And number one, same thing again, because I always talk about awareness. A lot of them are unaware of the values. So if you ask them, hey bro, why you do this? Or what value you operating from? They say, I don't know bro, I just do. Good, unaware. And number two, when it comes to values, is that they refuse to change. Allow me to explain to you. So number one, I have advisors, okay, who came to us and say, hey, I really want to get my double MDRT, 3 times MDRT, COT. I said, so are you willing to pay the price? He said, actually, I don't want to. I said, why? He said, bro, now I'm comfortable. Why should I do that? I said, cool. What values, not driving force, what values, is nudging you to stay in your comfort zone? He said, actually, I feel safe. He was unaware that his value is security. He truly values security. He has a nice house, a nice car, a nice family going on. Why should he get himself outside of his comfort zone, outside of security for a risk, a 3 times MDRT that he might not get? So he was operating for that place, unaware. And when I nudged him, I said, hey bro, you realize the value that you're valuing too often is security. When the manager asked him to go do new initiative, ad campaign, he said, don't want. Anything not safe, too risky, I don't do. Subconsciously, it was driving him. It was moving him. The second type is what? People who are aware of the values, but they refuse to change. Some example. Some of the advisors, right, they value too much on the ego. I've seen many times. So just now I give a couple of case studies whereby it is successful. The fellow don't value ego, value humility, ask for opportunities. The advisors will come to us and say, hey, I really want to speak to my existing client, my own market and everything, my family, my auntie, uncle. But they keep looking down on me, I don't want to do. So that's what happens. They refuse to let go of the ego, value ego too much. As a result of that, eventually these kind of advisors went out of business. I've seen that too often. And I'll give you a real case study, right, with one of the lady, through one of our agency coaching that we do. This lady came to us, be radically transparent here. She wasn't the best performing out of 8 of them in the group. In fact, I would say she was lowest of the lowest in terms of confidence, in terms of activity and performance. And I was very curious and intrigued. Why? Why will she operate from this pace, right? This space, this place. And I said, what kind of value do you think she values so much? And I realized that the word was comfort. So every time the group have calling nights, right, she refused to call. She only texts people. And even if she calls maybe 5 people at max. 2 hours calling sessions, she called 5 people. And this client of ours, client L, we call her client L. That day, doing coaching, I asked her this. Visualize, close your eyes. How have you been operating from a place of comfort looking like for you? Do you feel proud or do you feel shame? Well, she was so close, she's tearing up already. She said, actually, I feel very disgusted with that version of myself. Always feeling a lot of fear. That's why I always stay in my comfort. I said, good. Now let me ask you, if you were to switch it out and you value bravery, how will things be different for you? Visualize the new client L 2.0 version. What kind of activities will you do? What kind of results will you have? Oh, she was tearing a lot and her team was there, vulnerable space, supporting her, cheering for her. And that day, I remember it was a Monday coaching for them. Monday night, they had a calling session. In fact, she broke through it. She asked herself the same question. If today me operate from a place of bravery, how would I show up? She caught 29 people. She secured 2 appointments on the spot. Her entire team cheered for her, very happy for her. And in fact, I'm so happy for her. Because this is her breaking her limits, stepping up. So that's a real example, no? How powerful values can be if you constantly ask yourself, if I operate from a different value, what kind of actions will I take? So we covered beliefs, we covered values, and the next portion we're going to talk about is why. Why is very important. So in fact, it's one of the most important components. People like to use vision. People like to use the word purpose. We just simplify it with the word why. When it comes to why, there are 3 key things. Okay, 3 key mistakes probably. Number 1, some of them, they don't have it, they are unaware of theirs. Or number 2, once they finish their goals already, they don't have next goals, no new goals. Number 3, no emotions to goals. Allow me to elaborate. So some of them, they are unaware of their goals. And they constantly heard their leaders saying this, hey, you have to find your why, find your why. And they say, how to find? Go clue to find, I don't know. So they every day operate from a day-to-day kind of momentum, month-to-month, just clear bills, clear their targets that the managers set for themselves because they're unaware of what truly drives themselves. It's not internal, hence they take for external. The moment they don't want to do it, they just say shut down, they don't do it. That's why some of the leaders watching this right now, you'll feel that it's very hard. How come my guys don't have a very clear why one? Because they're unaware themselves as well. Number 2, maybe you have leaders right now, or maybe you have your advisors right now clearing MDRT already. 2 times MDRT. And then after a while, they enter a slump. Here's the reason why. Because they don't have a renewal of goals. After I hit that, I already reached my goals. Then what's next? They asked them to COT. They said, not sure. Is it really for me or not? Not sure. As a result of that, they don't have something to aim towards. They stagnate. They become comfortable, fall back already, backtrack already. The third type of mistake is even more critical. I always tell this to all my clients. A vision without emotion always lead to inaction. Important. For example, now, if you are a leader watching this, hey guys, come on, COT. You say only COT. But the guy watching it, listening to that goal, feeling it might not be there. The feeling towards it might not be there. And then he just say that, hey, boss, okay, he entertain you. But deep down, is there a buy-in? Don't have. How do I know? Because I've spoken to so many advisors who tell me, my leader keep forcing me to a COT. And it drifts the relationship apart instead. So, no emotions to go is very important. So I share you a real story. Client C, her name is C. Within a short span of 8 months, but she's 2 years in the business, 8 months in the 2021, if I remember correctly, she managed to hit the MDRT 8 months in by August. She thought it was going to be amazing feeling, she's going to celebrate herself, but end up she felt empty. And she tell her manager about it, her manager say, I know why you're empty, because you never do COT. Come on, you can do. Then in her brain, she feel confused. 8 months for one MDRT, 4 more months you need to ask me to do COT. How can it be? And she entertained the boss again. She said, okay. But deep down she feel very empty. For 6 months, August all the way to next year, February, she keep looking for YouTube videos, watching different kind of tutorials talking about how to find your why. What's the next goal that excites me? How come each goal that I set don't have emotions one? At one fine day, she happened to see our Facebook post. I was doing a Facebook live, in fact. There were 2 persons, she and another person. And I was very passionate about talking about this topic, why? And I mentioned that phrase as well. I said, emotions must be attached to your vision so that you can move into action. She was very intrigued. She said, hey, can I have a call with you? We have a call. She decided to be our client. The very first thing I did with her was this exercise called PPF exercise. Your past leads to your present leads to your future. Very important. It's a very heartfelt exercise. And that was exactly what client C did with us. And surprisingly, through the exercise, it was a very intensive 2 hours coaching. She teared, bawled her eyes out. And in that moment, she was very vulnerable. Context for some of you is that she's a Malaysian. Growing up, she got 3 other brothers. She has to force herself to be independent. She don't dare to receive so much love from her parents. And she also study in a different state in Malaysia. Very independent. And when she had all her income, 6-figure income, she started asking herself, how come I got money but I still feel empty? And I asked her the truth from within. Money not an issue, what do you really want? And she expressed, she said, I just want to be loved. It was very powerful. I just want to love my parents, I just want to love my people. And I said, cool, so what do you want to do about it? She said, I want to bring my family on a trip. I said, you are so 30 plus. Never bring your parents on a trip before. Never. I don't even dare to dream about it. I said, okay, cool. So essentially, you want to rebuild your relationship with them, am I right? She said, yes. And in fact, she said, last time she got 6-figure in the bank account, she got no feeling to it, no meaning to it. I said, right now, do you think your money has meaning? Of course, it's for me to shower love for them. And in fact, working with us in barely 1 year, she achieved a second MDRT. And then this year, as we're speaking, she's gunning for COT. And ever since then, after we create stronger meaning to her in terms of rebuilding her relationship with parents, now she's gunning for something bigger. She runs a podcast, inviting people like cardiologists, fortune teller, all walks of life, to give them the platform to speak about their experience, their occupation, whatever they see, just so that she can impact more lives at scale beyond a financial advisor role. And she's just so purposeful living her life day in, day out, right? And through that, let's be honest, is it more network for her to prospect? Yes, it's a byproduct of it, but she don't intentionally think of it. Now her business is so intentional, very purposeful, instead of just doing sales for the sake of targets and awards. And for me, it was really through this heartfelt exercise, the PPF, that allows her to create the why that comes from within, instead forced from external source like managers telling you to do what to do. Right? So that's why this is very important, the why. You need to spend time with your guys to extract that from themselves. So the next element, right, that's holding your guys back from breaking through, getting more increase in FYC activities, right, is this element called fears. And I think it's very relatable. When it comes to fears, there's 5 fears that's holding advisors back. Number 1, judgment. Number 2, rejection. Number 3, their relationship with failure. Number 4, okay, is uncertainty. Number 5, discomfort. And allow me to elaborate what I mean by that. Let's start with number 1, judgment. I believe you know also, in this industry, right, so many people judging you, so much stigma in this industry. You tell people I'm a haven't finished advisor. They say, don't need to meet me, please. Don't come and sell me anything. That is what the advisor have to face day in, day out. Some of them who have a better or healthier relationship judgment, they will survive and thrive in this industry. Those advisors with unhealthy relationship judgment don't want to put themselves out there to be judged. They can't even survive. They barely survive the industry. And this is a real problem. So number 2, when it comes to rejection, maybe you ask your guys, hey, prospect your family member, prospect your best friend, close friend. They say, if I prospect them, they reject me. What if you jeopardize the relationship? Well, I better not. So you tell them what to do, but end up they still never do. Because not that they don't want to do, it's they don't dare to do. And that's the issue, because they don't want to be rejected. So then take it too personally, they say that, my best friend, even my mother, buy for someone else, not me. Wow, rejected. Hence, 7 days never work, 2 weeks never work, because no mood to work. Number 3, failure. Maybe some of them, after putting so much effort, prospect 20 people per week, 40 people per week, having so many appointments, cannot close anything. And how they feel? They feel like a failure, disappointed, inadequate, insecure about themselves. And then managers and say, come on can do again, get it. But they say, don't want because they don't want to try anymore. I try, I still fail, what's the point? Gone. They keep going back to the spiral, the vicious cycle, because their relationship with failure is unhealthy. That is why they're having these problems. And number 4, all right, let me ask you an honest question. This career, self-employment, certain? Confirm no, you don't know where's the next lead, the next sale. It's very uncertain. Will this change? No. If the industry is not going to change, who must change? Your advisors must change. We must change. So that's why I always ask advisors, let me ask you, if you prospect right now, you surely know. He will say no. He said, most likely lah. He surely said no one. So I don't want to do it. I said, okay. So are you afraid of the answers? Are you afraid of trying because you don't know what's going to happen? He said, yes. That's why. So a lot of advisors rather cling on to certainty. Certainty that if I never try, I wouldn't know the outcome was going to be bad or good or whatever. I don't care. I will stay in my comfort zone. And that certainty makes them feel safe. As a result of that, they will constantly stay in inaction. Last but not least, discomfort. Prospecting is uncomfortable, let's be honest. A lot of advisors who are striving right now because their relationship discomfort is healthy. That's why they speak to a lot of high net worth business owners, getting outside of their comfort zone, making new friends, putting themselves out there, posting content. As a result, they get good standards of business. Right? On the flip side, their advisors are always in their comfort zone. The standard they set themselves is very low. Prospecting uncomfortable, putting content out there uncomfortable, asking people to make a commitment right now is uncomfortable, so they don't do so. Even asking for payment, they say, I don't want to. Let them take their time. I don't want to stress people. As a result of that, they are stressing their career. Right? So these are 5 fears that advisors tend to face, and they must have a healthier relationship with them. If not, they will always not get the results that they want. And let me give you some real examples so I can illustrate it better. When it comes to judgment, one of our clients, I'll call client S, she came to us saying that I don't want to be online as well. I don't want to post content. I don't want to tell my friends or my advisor, remember? And eventually, on TikTok now, she's posting content in her native language, educating people about financial knowledge beautifully. And TikTok has an algorithm whereby they let your friends or your acquaintances know about you. And one of our acquaintances, she almost forgot about that person, reached out to her and said, hey, I saw your TikTok video. I'm thinking of doing a retirement planning with my husband, and I think you're the best person. Through that, expressed, not impressed, she was willing to put herself out there to be judged. She worked on her healthier relationship with judgment. She created multiple opportunities, able to close bigger cases, creating opportunity for acquaintances. And this is a real example that I want to share with you. Number 2, rejection. When it comes to rejection, this is a very common thing. Advisors will say, I eat rejection for breakfast, lunch, dinner, normal. But how you respond to rejection can be healthy or unhealthy. Some people get rejected, they say, I don't want to prospect anymore, I don't work. Maybe advisors, agency leaders, you're listening to this, you see a lot of the guys displaying that kind of behavior. But on the flip side, you will see some hungry ones who say, rejected, but it's okay. I keep calling, I still call. Let me give a real example what happened. So I have another client of ours, her name is client C. She got rejected very often, and I said, let's talk about it a little bit deeper. And I was coaching her, diagnosing what's the root issue. She told me this. Anytime someone blue tick me, I get rejected. Anytime someone ghosts on me, rejected. Someone don't want to eat lunch or dinner with me, I get rejected. Someone choose another advisor after I propose, I'm rejected. Wow, I say, the likelihood of you feeling rejected is very high, you know. Is it helping you or harming you? She said, harming me. I said, how old are you now? She said, 33. I said, okay. 33 years old of these unhealthy rules for rejection, you know. Do you want to change these? She said, yes, please. I don't even know this is a problem. Thank you for telling me about it. I said, good. So I gave her a template for her to use. This is something I learned as well. Only if blank, then I can feel rejected. She said, what do you mean? I said, cool. So I gave her a template, only if something is tough, difficult to happen then she's allowed to feel rejected. That was the rule. And she was thinking it through. She said, I got one already, coach. Can you try and see whether I'm correct? She said this. Only if someone spit on my face, ask me to get lost, then I feel rejected. I said, yes, that is a good one, because the likelihood of that happening, high or low, very low. So then, after when she heard that rule for herself, something sparked inside her. She said, oh my God, this is so different. As she go the next week, prospecting, same thing, texting people. Then she also same thing, receive blue ticks. She was like, no, I feel sad, but not rejected, because the person never speak in my face. And guess what? One day, she was doing a normal follow-up, sending investment newsletter to all her clients and everything. This particular gentleman, she messaged him 4 times. 4 times. And on the 4th time, the guy replied, hey client C, thank you so much for reaching out 4 times consecutively. And I really appreciate it. Truth to be told, on the 3rd time when you messaged me, right, I really wanted to do this investment with you. It's a good time for us to talk about it. Unfortunately, my father had a funeral. So I wasn't in the right state to talk about it. Just what happened yesterday, you sent me the 4th time. Hey, let's talk about it. And in fact, she was able to help the client do proper investments, retirement planning, and everything moving forward. And I was like, what a good win. Candy, what do you do? And she was telling me that win. She was saying, hey, coach, remember a couple of weeks ago, you tell me to redefine my rule for rejection? In the past, I wouldn't even send them 1 time, 2 time, finish, no more, maximum 1 time, 2 time. I wouldn't even send them 4 times. But because you tell me to rewrite the rule, if he never speak in my face, I can constantly text them, evaluate them, and it helped. On the 4th time, this guy came back. I'm like, wow, and she's not the only one. Client C is not the only one that had rejection breakthroughs. So you really redefine your rule for rejection, and I promise you, you will redefine the success in your career as well. I mean, you will have a different kind of success. Number 3, relationship with failure. For a lot of advisors that I've spoken to, each time they feel disappointed, insecure, inferior, instantly they say, I'm a failure, what's the point? Don't need to try. As a result of that, you will see your guys having inconsistency in their prospecting activities, in their appointments. Probably 3 weeks they chung non-stop, 3 weeks slump non-stop. Maybe it's because of this. They don't want to attempt anymore, they don't want to disappoint themselves further. And when it comes to failure, I have a classic example that I want to share with you. There was an advisor of ours. He is client J. Same client, 6 years in the business, no MDRT. Same thing, I have to work with him through his relationship with failure. And for him, right, is that each time I attempt and I don't see results, I feel inadequate. What's the point of working? I don't want to try anymore. And I was like, same thing that I did with the previous client, I redefined his rule. I said, bro, why your rules are harming you? He said, what do you mean? I said, each time you don't see the outcome you want, you feel failure. Each time you put in effort, you don't see results, you feel failure. Is this too often? He said, yes. The new rule that we reframe for him in his mind is this. Only if I eventually leave the career, then I feel like a failure. So when he prospect, no appointment, when he go for appointment, no closing, I ask him, have you left the career? He said, not yet. Good, can you feel this feeling or not? Not yet, no, I just feel sad. Sad is still better than I feel that I failed. I said, good, what do you do now? I feel the feeling, but I still pick up the phone and I call. And in fact, that was how he was able to combat that. Consistently making sure that he don't feel like a failure. Eventually he achieved his MDRT, and now this year he's gunning for 2 times MDRT. I'm very proud of him. We were able to redefine his relationship with failure that brought his breakthrough. And when it comes to uncertainty, comes discomfort, these two are very closely linked. I want to give you another client B, right? This client B, classic story, come to me saying that, hey coach, I ran out of leads. I said, okay, not the first time I hear before, a lot of advisors tell me that as well. But is that your truth? Is that the truth? He said, yes. I said, come, bring out your phone. He's scrolling his phone. I said, how many numbers there? He said, 550. I said, okay. How many existing clients now? 80. Where's the 400 plus? He said, Auntie Margaret already got an advisor. Bob also want to be an advisor. No lah. Charlie closer to Bob lah. Don't want to choose me one lah. Confirm one. I said, bro, is it because you are now selecting who you're comfortable with, what is easy for you? Is it because you're choosing what you think is certain one? He said, yeah. And those people that I'm very comfortable already signed with me already, my clients already. Only left those that might have awkward conversation and those uncertain ones. So I don't have any like that. So I said, I got no leads now. I said, okay, cool. Slowly. I gave him 2 powerful questions to think about. I said this. Number 1, what if they sure say yes? Will you do it? Because this question itself brings what? Certainty. Then he said, maybe I will, okay? Second day I asked him this. If discomfort doesn't exist, if fear doesn't exist, who will you want to serve? Or suddenly he start thinking of possibilities, he start thinking of names. He start thinking, my army encik, my army junior, my army senior. He was listing out a few names already. And I asked him these 2 questions, why? So they have more certainty, so they can embrace the discomfort. And in fact, he really reached out. Out of 3 of them, 1 replied. His army senior replied, who's an officer. My client is just a corporal. That's why he feel a lot of shame. And in fact, after they meet up, after the first opening, closing, eventually became his client. And he was surprised. He said, coach, whenever I embrace discomfort, I got opportunities. That is his new belief. Whenever I embrace uncertainty, I create opportunities. And in fact, now it's his norm to go out 10 km per week, running it to embrace discomfort, starting his day with ice bath. And when I see all of this transformation that happens within themselves first, which eventually let them have their MDRT, whatever T, it warms my heart to share that. Yeah, it's all of this relationship with fear that has to improve in order for their quality of life and business to improve. Okay, the next portion, the next aspect and element that I want to share with you is shadow self. Okay, allow me to explain. So when it comes to shadow self, it's a term that not I created it, right? Carl Jung, psychoanalysis, psychiatrist created this. And so this concept, right, probably agency leaders watching this right now, you'll find a similar term that you're probably more familiar with, right? You're stuck in a rut. That's a downtime for your guys. You usually use such words. But in my language, it's called shadow self. Let me explain in simple words, simple terms. All human beings have 2 selves. Our super self, we're in our flow state, we're closing cases after cases. In our shadow self, where we feel shame, we feel guilty, regretful, we're just stuck at one corner, don't want to work, hiding from people, never come for office. That is shadow self. Essentially, in your guys, there are 3 mistakes they are currently making. That is why they are not productive, getting more appointments and prospecting. Let me share with you. Number 1, they are unaware. They don't know how their shadow self look like, so they don't know they are actually in it or not in it. Number 2, they cannot get out of it. They know that they're in a shadow self, then they say, so what? How to come out? I don't know. Number 3, they cannot prevent from entering it. So allow me to elaborate a little bit more so you can understand. So sometimes, right, you will use labels like procrastination. You say, hey, why are you procrastinating again? But is this guy really procrastinating? Or maybe the root issue is that he's in his shadow self. So different issues, different problems need different solutions. So how can you help him if he himself don't even aware what does his shadow self look like? And let me give you some example. Different people got different kind of shadow self. For example, people have drinking. When they're in their shadow self, they constantly drink. They constantly go online gaming, maybe online gambling even. Some people got shopping addiction. All of these are different symptoms of their shadow self. So number 1, they are unaware how to solve. That's why. Number 2, since some of them maybe they are in it, but in it too long already. 1 month shadow self, 2 months shadow self. And as a leader, you also don't know this concept. How can you help them? So that's the problem. That's why eventually people like ourselves will come in and step in and help them unstuck themselves, get out of their shadow self. Number 3, usually as a leader, you'll see that, how come some of my guys can fly up, suddenly slump down, fly up, slump down. Allow me to break it down. It's because they cannot prevent themselves of falling into the shadow self. Let me give you a real example. So we have advisors who make maybe, let's say, 20K. in terms of FYC one particular month. Suddenly next month you see drop all the way down to 2K FYC. How come? Here's the thing. Maybe this guy have 20 appointments or 15 appointments every single week, and his driving force, in the previous chapter we talk about driving force. Maybe his driving force is freedom. And he feels extremely trapped for that particular month, even if he achieves 20K. And the next month, guess what he'll say? Wow, last month damn xiong, so trapped. This month I don't want to have as many appointments. And let me just he used his word, let me just chill, let me just relax. But in actual fact, he was already in his shadow self non-stop for too long. Okay? And you need to prevent it by how? How? Understand early symptoms of it. Allow me to give you a real case study so you can understand how to help your guys. One of my guys, client J. So he was aware of his driving force because of our coaching. Let me identify his driving force. Let me identify his shadow self for you to understand what's going on. Number one, each time he got 10 appointments every single week, and then he feel very trapped. Worst case, his driving force achievement. Concept, driving force affects your shadow self, by the way. Okay? If you don't drive yourself in the driving force, instead on the other side, you have too much of these negative emotions that your driving force don't like to feel, you will fall into shadow self. It's closely linked. So the thing about him, he is okay. So the thing about him, he is very achievement, freedom, and peace driven. Okay? Achievement, freedom, peace. For him, when he enters his shadow self, guess what happens? Usually, he will go JB and just have fun, play. Don't work at all. No appointments also. And then what happens is that he also don't call, no prospecting. He'll just be in shame state. And next thing is that he will always suffer in silence. Don't go for office. Don't come for coaching. Everything just hiding in one corner. And that's where I spot a pattern already. I say, hey, probably these are some symptoms that you're in your shadow self. Number 3, I told him this. Each time you probably have feeling that you're going to shadow self, you let me know. I hold you very accountable. You let your director know as well. Can or not? He said, can. And we were able to identify. If 10 appointments he attend, can't even close one, that's the start of him falling to his shadow self. And usually what I do to help him prevent that from happening, I tell him this as well. Stack pride, never stack shame. Increase your driving forces in any way possible. If you want more peace, go for it. If you want freedom, create it. Stack pride and not shame is because he's very achievement driven. As a result of that, he was able to not enter the shadow self and always be in a state of super self. Consistently doing it for the last 12 months, he was able to achieve his very first MDRT, even though last 6 years he did not have that. And I realized that this shadow self thing, it was not overnight thing. It has been with him since even before he started his career. Right? And it's a very universal thing. All of us have different versions of our shadow self, and it's our responsibility to be aware and know how to handle that. So the last element, right, is emotion mastery. And this is extremely important because advisors that we coach, right, in the past, their downtime can be 3 weeks, 4 weeks, But right now, after they learn this, right, their downtime is only 1 day. And let me explain to you why is it so important as well. So, emotional mastery. Okay, there are 3 things, right? They're common mistakes that advisors are currently making. Number 1, they cannot identify what emotions are they feeling non-stop. Later I'll elaborate why is it a problem. Number 2, they fall into situations where they self-bully. Okay, and number 3, unhealthy way of processing emotions. Allow me to elaborate. So, number 1, let me ask you, if today I ask you, right, what kind of emotions are you feeling internally? You say, I don't know. Maybe you feel failure, maybe you feel inadequate, maybe you feel rejected because of 10 appointments, everything go out of your way. Make you feel, a lot of stress, a lot of pressure. And then you're like, hey, how you feel? Nothing, it's okay. Eventually on the 10th, 12th rejection, right, everything just blow up in you. Will you be more productive or less productive? Surely less productive. And it's very scary if you cannot identify the emotion, you don't know how to solve it, you don't know how to deal with it. And that's why this is a main problem that usually we notice in advisors. Number 2, this is a bit more a serious issue because we have advisors who probably feel failure, probably they feel disappointed, inadequate as they compare to other producing advisors. They start self-bully. They say that, I feel very disappointed myself. I'm a loser. I will never get COT. I will never get MDRT. I'm not good enough. And this is the narrative that's playing in the head 24/7 non-stop. So let me ask you, if someone who constantly blame themselves, bully themselves, will this guy be happy when he's working? Looking forward to closing cases every day? Not really. Very negative, heavy emotions around him. And number 3, when they assuming they cannot identify, they keep self-bullying, and when they reach to the 3rd stage, where a lot of emotions bottling up already, what happens? Outburst. There's unhealthy way of processing these emotions. For example, screaming and shouting at other people, numbing and bearing, and one day just exploding to random tears. Or maybe even shouting at agency leaders out of the blue. A lot of these things, or maybe don't show up at work, not working for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. These are all examples of unhealthy processing. So let me give you a real example. We have a client that came to us, right? So this client of ours, for the longest time, very low in terms of emotion mastery. What I mean by that is that this person by nature, very emotional, and doesn't understand how to handle that. So even the director himself said, you too much emotions. But the director is not equipped with the skill set to handle that. And end up, the director also feel helpless. The advisor also feel helpless. I don't know why. Each time I talk to people, I keep getting a lot of anger, I keep getting a lot of frustration, a lot of emotions, and I don't know how to deal with it. So what happens is that after 3 appointments, a lot of emotions build up. Every single week, max capacity 3 appointments. Then I say, hey, the 3, at least you close something. Not really also. I said, hey, how can you be productive like that? He said, I cannot. He said, I cannot. I said, cool. Would you be serious about solving this problem once and for all? You're how old again? He said, 28 years old. I said, okay, cool. 28 years old, nobody teach you how to process emotions. School never teach. Teacher never teach. Parents never teach. I teach. Are you okay with that? He said, okay, sure. First and foremost, I taught him that, hey, usually your emotional home means the common feelings that you always feel is inadequacy, and you feel very, very disappointed. He said, oh, yeah, true. Good. Number 2, can we stop self-bullying or not? Can we acknowledge emotions as it is, neutral one? He said, what do you mean? I feel disappointed, but it doesn't mean I'm a loser. It doesn't mean I'm a bad advisor. It doesn't mean anything about you or the situation. It simply means that you feel what? And he said, I feel disappointed. Now how do you feel about the disappointment? Is it neutral? Don't have additional unnecessary meaning for you to self-bully? He said, yeah, it feels lighter. His words, lighter. I said, good. And number 3, now can we have healthier way of processing emotions instead of numbing and bearing and eventually you blow up? Even the doctors don't know how to help you. He said, Ken, let's try. There's so many healthier forms like breathing. There's meditations. You know that crying is your body's natural way of releasing as well. Even crying is still better than numbing. And he was like, cool. So what happens is that each time he do vlogging. So he vlogged, he said, guys, today he talked to himself, but he never upload anywhere. Hi guys, today I just feel very disappointed. But it doesn't mean I'm a failure. It doesn't mean I'm a loser. I just feel disappointed, but I can still prospect. And I'm like, cool. I give him a 3 weeks challenge. It's called a 3 weeks emotion mastery challenge. You still go for a 3 appointments, same thing still. But in the past, he go for 3 appointments, a lot of emotions, he don't work for 1 week, don't work for 2 weeks. I said this time around, just consecutively 3 weeks, go for your appointments and process your emotions, let me know how it feels. He said, coach, I go for 3 appointments, it took me 1 day, I bounced out strong, I continue non-stop. And in fact, he was able to double his production just because of this emotion mastery. It's a bit unorthodox. Most leaders don't talk about it. But let's be honest, all humans have emotions. That's why I'm very passionate about this topic. Schools and parents don't teach, I must teach. When you are able to master your emotions, not your emotions run you, you will then be very consistent in your business.
So what about those leaders who just say, hey, don't need emotions, just whack?
Good question. So a lot of leaders, right, who say don't need emotions, just whack, right? That is a stroke for certain folks. Some of them are very logical. It does not mean logical people don't have emotions. It simply means, let me just use a simple analogy, antenna. Okay? Emotional ones, higher antenna. They catch emotions stronger. The logical ones also feel it's a delayed kind of situation. So maybe today, okay, your logical advisors out there, do they feel rejected? Yes. But they will logicalize it. Hey, why would this person reject me? So they try to solve it. But inside their heart, will they feel the rejection still? Yes. It will hit them harder when they're showering. And they're like, wow, damn sian, no. I put in so much effort, then it hits them in the heart. Then they try to logicalize and process these emotions. It still they feel very weird. Same thing, why? Because the logical ones still cannot identify what emotions. If they cannot identify, how can they deal with it? They cannot solve it. So, a common thing that I always tell the logical advisors is this. Emotions don't need any solving. They just need to be processed. So I give you a typical example. The advisors, right, who often try, for example, a typical script. Okay, I try this script. And then, hey, this script worked for this person. I try this same script, next week don't work. Now this person feel what? This guy is very logical. He feel what? He feel confused. But before dealing confused, he start thinking, hey, maybe I should adjust the script. But the matter of fact, as I coach them, I say, hey, when you feel confused, that's where you try your best to solve as many things. But no, in a confused state, you think clearly or not clearly? Not clearly. So don't fix any logical thing yet. Feel, process your feelings first and deal with the stuff later. So my logical advisors actually love this advice from us. They say, hey, true, I feel confused, it's okay, I don't have to do anything about it. Yes. So is this applicable for both emotional and logical people? 100% yes.